Hello guys, welcome to GW Pro Trading. It's Win Michael here, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at CADCHF. Alright, in this one here I'm going to be sharing with you technical analysis and also points of possible entries where we have supply and also where we have demand, and what also I'll be looking to do on a medium term. If you're new to this channel, I recommend that you subscribe and also smash on the notification bell on this channel so you'll be getting information whenever I post content such as this one. Alright, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the full breakdown of CADCHF. Alright, so one of the things we identify that we have is that price created what could have been an impulse, correction impulse after a test of this huge structure here. This was far back 2016. Price, however, created an impulse, correction impulse, which we had price then drop back into testing this territory, creating what we could also identify as a double bottom. However, price then moved in from that point, creating a new high prior to the previous one, also creating a new high back in 2020. Right, that was during the pandemic, and we also had that price have started to create what we could identify as a retracement of this price impulse to the upside. Alright, however, here we're going to be looking at some certain Fibonacci retracement areas, and as you guys know, I take most into consideration first the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement area, as well as also the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement area, and on rare occasions, which I often look at, the 78.6 in some situations. Alright, so that could also mean that price could go into much deeper retracement area and could possibly turn into a contraction before I could be looking at possible areas such as that one. All right, so possibly what we had here is we had price then drop down into the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement area and then create what could also be seen as a rejection of that territory. Price then create that rejection, pushed it upside, but we had it that the bulls couldn't maintain the push to the upside. However, price dropped just slightly below back into this territory here to further look for liquidity. All right, so let's just go over to a weekly time frame and then let's see if we have a valid structure that can allow us to take a bullish trade. All right, so on a weekly time frame, we can also identify that we have one of my special favorite setup which I like the most, and what I call the WXY. If you do not understand what I call the WXY is one of my favorite setups in the market, which I look at, and once it's set up nicely just like this one here, what I look at is the break of an X leg, and then the next one should continue to create a Y leg into the downside. All right, so with this one here, I'm looking at a possibility for price to create and then continue going down into testing my Y territory. And the Y territories are mostly the 127 Fibonacci extension of the swing of X. All right, so I'm looking at a possible target for price to drop into this territory here of the 127, having tested what could also be previous structure here just slightly. All right, so we didn't have a test back in that territory. So whenever you have a market setup such as this one, you can expect that once price doesn't go into the support to embrace that support, you can expect that the next test of that structure will break it. All right, so what I'm expecting to see is that the next test of this structure should clear this range and we'll have price back into this point. All right, so here I've just put up my trade idea for CXY. All right, so let's just go over to CADCHF and then let's see what also potentials we have with CADCHF and when we're going to be looking at start taking a trade decision with this one. All right, so taking a look at the monthly time frame, without going further down, we can also identify that we have what could have been a possible corrective structure right here, and we have what could also possibly be an impulse correction and an impulse. All right, so from this point here, we had price starting to slow down of some sort, and also this was previous structure which we also found price right from some sort of the past. Okay, some sort of the past, and we have this structure from some sort of the past. However, price didn't just test that point. Price didn't test nor reject that point, but price came into that territory. So what I'm looking at is a possibility on a longer term that price may want to break this point here on a longer term, or however, if there is no demand for CAD, we might also have it that CAD may continue to slide down, breaking through previous structure and then continue its way to the downside. So in this one here, I'm not going to be looking at a too long-term analysis. Rather, I'm going to be looking at a medium and also a short-term analysis where we can also make our good pips and also make some good money off the market. All right. So here with this one here, what we can also identify that we have what we could identify as an impulse here, and this is a corrective structure. All right, this is the next impulse. We have a corrective structure, and we have what could also be the next start of the impulse to the downside. All right, so today is the 9th of December, which we have price trading currently 9 days into the current monthly structure, and I could expect that this structure here could also close to become a bearish one at the end of the month. All right, so if you're going to be looking at that possibility, then we have it that we are in luck. Okay, from the fact that we are in luck, that we are around where price have also tested the highs of the month. All right, so because in using the ICT strategy, you want to see price make the extreme of a certain time frame. All right, say a weekly time frame, you want to have it that price could also be making the extreme before the mid of the month. All right, so we have it that price have currently tested some highs here, and we could start to say that price could be on its way into testing the highs of the month. However, on a weekly time frame, we then see that we also, on a daily time frame, we have understand that we are about to see what could also possibly be a reversal on a weekly time frame, having created from Monday. We have it that I was also looking at this one from my pre-market analysis, which I also spoke about, that I was looking at a W, I was looking at an X, and I'm then looking at the next Y leg to the downside. All right, so I'm looking at a possibility that price could also be back into testing this territory and also breaking around this point to the downside. All right, so that's what I'm going to be looking at on a medium and also a long term. So I'm going to be drawing a roadmap with you guys on how I intend to approach this one, and also what I'm going to be doing on a medium and also a longer term. All right, so on a 4-hourly time frame, we can also identify that in the week that we've also created what could also be another WXY pattern, which I love the most to trade. And we have it that price have completed or have the potentials of completed the X leg. All right, so this is what I'm going to be looking at as a potential X leg, and I'm going to be looking at the next start of the drop to be to the downside. All right, so we're going to be looking at the next start of the drop to downside, and we're going to start by planning on when we're going to approach this one. All right, so when we're going to approach this one here is when the next drop comes. Okay, on the hourly time frame, we can also identify that at the moment we have it that price is so far trading in what could be a bearish structure. However, we had what could have also been an impulse to the downside, having created a double top here, impulse, what could also be a corrective wave structure, and then the next impulse could also be to the downside. That is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be waiting for that opportunity. However, right now, which I am making this presentation is about the close of New York session. All right, so during this time, I do not take any trade during this time, but rather I will wait into the start of the Asian session, possibly the Tokyo session. Then I will start then looking for some short opportunities to the downside. That's when I'm going to be taking that massive position here, and then I'm going to be looking at taking some good profits off it. All right, so when I'm going to be taking my first target. All right, as always, you guys know in this strategy here, I want to take my first profit here. All right, I want to take my very first profit around the extreme of the W zone. All right, so this is going to be around the 0.7139 territory, because that is where I want to take my very first profit. All right, I want to take my very first profit right there. And just go to restrict this. I want to take my very first profit right here. All right, this is my TP1, and my TP2 is going to be the 127 Fibonacci extension of the X swing. Right, I'm going to be taking my TP2 inside of this zone, around the 0.7078 territory. That's what I'm going to take in my TP2. And if you're looking at this, what I'm going to be doing in the next trading day, I'm going to be looking at taking some short positions when I have price break below, just below this point here. All right, this is going to be my confirmation zone. All right, this is going to be my validation zone. Once I have price breaking below this point right here, I'm going to have to enter the short position, and my stop loss is going to be up here at the extreme of the previous high, because I don't want to see price bounce and then go back. Once price bounce goes back, breaking this point here, then we might have price continue going to the upside. All right, and I want to see that. I don't want to see that. So I'm going to be looking at taking a risk of 30-40 pips. I'm going to be looking at taking my TP1 at 120 pips, which is more than 1:3 risk to reward trade. And I'm going to be looking at taking my TP2 around this structure here, around 184 pips. All right, see you next time. Subscribe, like, and also share with friends. That's the best thank you, and it will also help in the creation of more videos such as this one.